Well now, this took long enough. It's time to now finally make this video. I wasted enough time watching YouTube instead of doing YouTube. The time has come that I showed my opinion about Space Engineers 2, the sequel to Space Engineers 1, and we'll see if it's worth playing despite its early access status. Two small things I'm going to mention before we begin though. One, I recorded about almost 15 hours worth of footage for this video, which will be condensed into this video for you, the viewers. And two, we're also going to experiment with a new piece of tech known as a PNG tuber. So, before we begin, will you please like, comment, subscribe, share this video around? That will really help out. I would like to grow my channel. So, let's begin. This is it. Space Engineers 2. I've installed the game. I haven't played it yet. I have a shiny new GPU to play it with. Let's do this. Oh. Space Engineers 2 Survival Mode starts with a long cutscene explaining that they have left the Earth system and traveled over 10,000 years or so to get to this new system called Amager, or Armager, however you pronounce it. They explain that most of the crew is in cryo sleep, but two guys will wake up so now and then to refuel and perform maintenance on the ship, then back to the cryopods. However, the ship crashes against some asteroids, one of those dudes is injured and needs to stay, whilst the other one goes down to the plant and see what he can do. Boom. After crashing down...
Yvonne, I made it, but just barely. How are the colonists?
The cryopods are stable. Thanks for asking how I'm doing, though.
Listening to these two argue a bit, I then follow the in-game tutorial, which is walk here, fix ship, and be acquainted with the new mechanic, the backpack crafting. Alright, now let's see, which is a new system that allows you to store ore in your backpack and convert it into parts to build things. I have my opinions about this, but I'll explain later. This thing's powered up. First, I need to repair the ship, go to this facility and repair some pipes with only iron. No ingots. Which we can also do the old-fashioned way by just tearing down something else and using that thing's parts. Damn. Wow. We need more parts? Are there more parts? Or I could just take these apart. Do we want to try it? Do we want to try it? Hey, I'm not burning up. Well, thanks, Keen Software House. After that, I go to a different facility that has a hydrogen-powered ship, meaning space-worthy. Two problems. Most of the hydrogen thrusters are offline, aka unbuilt. And the tanks are empty, so I need to find some ice. And somewhere in between all that, I show my appreciation for this new brown dwarf, of which apparently this Earth-like planet is orbiting. Hold up. If that's the sun, then... Wait a minute. A glowy gas giant? I know exactly what you are. You're a brown dwarf. In other words... a failed star! Failure! You're in some strange in-between middle ground between a planet and a star. Failure! 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 After everything's been made ready, I head off to space and get to the signal that they really want me to go to. Whoa. Epic change in music. What I find is a way station, and I discover something. By the looks of it, some optimization.
Detected. Welcome to Valation Station, the central hub of the Verger sector.
Wow.
I am the Colonization Authority.
Oh boy.
When the first waves of the Bearing Project arrived, the cohesion of human-led decision-making was suboptimal.
Suboptimal?
As a solution, neutral stations were constructed across the system. And then, I was created. I assess the needs of each sector and generate contracts to achieve the necessary goals of colonization. And with their completion, steps toward a functioning, advanced civilization become evident. Colonization is the sworn duty of every human who arrives in the Almagest. However,
okay.
personal projects are expected.
Oh.
Each contract provides compensation upon completion, and you will be permitted to use more sophisticated technology as you progress.
Okay.
Colonization requires order.
Okay.
Order requires participation.
Okay.
Your actions will shape the future of mankind in the Almagest system.
Okay.
Your first contract is ready.
Okay. In order to unlock
There
new
is
blocks,
some kind of gateway
in this
network
scenario,
to travel through the
I
whole
need to
system.
fulfill contracts to unlock them.
We can do.
So, I first head to the first asteroid, which apparently has a busted antenna and O2 generator. Well, let's just have a look here. Apparently this needs fixing. Up and running again. Anything else? Full power! Yeah, the new thrusting mechanic. There we go, antenna fixed. After dealing with some IRL technical difficulties. Oh! I accidentally pressed the pause button on the recording. I pressed the pause button on the recording. How much did I... Oh boy. I head back to the station for the next job. The job sends me back down to a facility that needs a smelter and an assembler to be constructed. And gravity is taking hold of me again. This job leads me into my first oddity. Despite this game having a block called a smelter and a refinery, two objects you would associate with making ore into ingots, apparently they both make parts. There are no ingots. Okay then. After I finished that job, I went back up to the station, fulfilled my contract. Contract complete. Went back down for the next contract, which apparently is a mining facility that needed some repairs to their mining equipment. Full thrust. Dampers off. There's the landing site. Wait, is that unknown signal? These are not powered. Looks like I know what to do. Fix all this up. That's a big drill. It's here I also discover the Gear Forge. I wasn't able to using it, but the Gear Forge is needed for tools and weapons. Hooray, that's up and running. What is this thing? Oh, it's for tools. The next job at the station was to go to a mining facility here in the asteroid belt, build and repair some refineries, mine some ore, and build some components. Well, it's better than nothing. Except full speed. Yep, I see it. There's the landing pad right there. Ugh, it's so dirty pressing P. This goes against all the instincts of the community. Okay, I got a ton of crap to build. So, let's build. Let's see, what do I need to make? Okay. Yeah, first things first. There's some gold. I need that. There we go. I got more bits. Let's see if I can finish it now. Where I oversaw that this facility also had supplied me with a mining ship to do the job with. And they just gave me a whole ass... They gave me... During the recordings for this video, the developers had also updated the game a bit and added something called Classic Survival Mode. Hold on. Did you just say that there is a Classic Survival Mode? Well, let's go check it out. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Really? Under Worlds? It's like they really want us to try out their survival mode, which has economy. They're really trying to force us to do this, huh? Well, let's just try this out. I immediately went over to check that out. And to be honest, this was closer to what the community wanted. So, I spawn in and get to work. Oh, thank the Lord, there is a tool volume setting. It's here where I discovered how we get our starting materials. Depending on where you drill, you'll get a different resource. From soil, we get iron. From stone, we get nickel. And from sand, we get silica. We also can track down normal ore veins and empty those. However, I discovered a little issue while I was mining. When I was attempting to drill out a tiny piece of iron ore from the stone, I ended up with nickel. Not even a split resource. I just ended up with nickel, even though I was clearly drilling iron. Personally, I hope the developers will correct this at some point in the future. There we go. Let's see. Alright. Gear Forge. Control, tap, tap, rotate. That'll do me. Now a big cargo box here. Come on. Put together now. We have cargo. Now to connect to the Gear Forge. Soon. After getting somewhat of a base operational, I decided to make my first from scratch ship. And I went with something classic feeling. For those who remember the OG survival pod from SE1, you know, the one that came out after SE1 came out of early access, not the current one on wheels. Well, I usually end up making that into my first mining ship. I tried replicating that right here, right now. And I think I have an ideal idea of what I want. Okay, let's see. Wait. Yeah. It's a little bit working with it, but we're getting there. Game, please, get me some plates to begin construction. Ow. Muscle memory. I right-clicked for the build planner. There's no build planner yet in this game! Calm down. Awesome. Steel plates and pipes. Yep. Got those. Pipes and components. One component. Steel plates. Got plenty of steel plates. I just need one motor. Can I make a motor? Done. And I just need components and... What? I need that much for one connector? And that's done. The basic structure is here. The battery block. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. The gyroscope. There we go. Ore detector. That'll do too. Components and a motor. Electronics and... Okay. Yeah, it is coming together. Well, let's take you out for the real spin. However, I ended up crashing. Whoa there! Whoa there! Whoa! No! Stop! Don't! No! Twice. I am... No! 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 Which resulted in me in safe scumming. Twice. Forgive me. For I'm a safe scum. I then discovered something that must be reported. The SE2 thrusters are weaker than the SE1 thrusters. Full disclosure, this thing is not a complete one-to-one replication of what I usually build in SE1. This one is missing a full-size drill at the front because the SE2 drill just doesn't look right at the front of this cockpit. The SE1 drill looks way better on this cockpit. But after dealing with that little dilemma, by simply adding more thrusters, I had to track down two resources that I needed to progress. Mainly gold and lead. Extra 4 thrusters, and I can safely fly. I looked around, and looked around. I found gold at one of the unknown signals, and some components made from gold. Fruitless with my lack of results, I decided, clog it, we're going to space. Stock here, and attached to that, obviously, cockpit. On the other hand, let's try this one. I constructed a very simple spacecraft where I discovered something annoying. Not terrible, mind you, just annoying, considering my criticism in my previous video. Cargo tank, oxygen tank, hydrogen tank. Hold up. Are you kidding me? The size tank I want in Space Engineers 1 is here in Space Engineers 2. A medium hydrogen tank is here in Space Engineers 2 instead of Space Engineers 1. This... I will remember this. I will remember this. For more context, watch it, please. Snow. That's what I need. Yep. You get ice and snow. Again, I'm tortured by nickel. I want the ice. Alright, they're refueling. Now the finishing touches, which are the mandatory red and green light, and some normal lights. After I constructed the spaceship, I went off into space. There is the moon of this planet, above the cloud layer. There's the station. And how the heck did a rotor end up on my hotbar? Don't even have a rotor on this thing. Well, this is what they want. They want me to get to the station. It's the same station as their quote-unquote survival mode. Yeah, sorry, station. Let's not. But I have no idea what will happen if I connect to you with that lower connector. I'm not doing it. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Negatory, nope. I never really explored the station. Ah, most important room of the station. Here's the med bay. Did I just change my color? Oh yeah, I changed my color. Shame I can't change the color of my boots, my gloves, or my helmet. And, yep, the economy is here. With all the missions they want me to do. Except this time it's unlocked. Well, that's nice. But I think it's time I'll be going now. After visiting that same space station, then the other scenario, I explored some of the asteroids. A ton of ice. Now that is what I could use. This asteroid seems to be solid. Looks like I'm digging all the way in the damn thing. Let's see. Let's just coast into the ring. But before we do that, let's check out this unknown signal. Maybe has some bits we could use. Whoa! Am I getting shot? I'm getting shot! And there they are. The asteroids. Dampeners. On. I said on. There we go. Remember, don't point directly in the asteroids. That doesn't end well. Iron. Silicon. Silicon, iron. That's it. Silicon and iron. Next rock. What do we have here? Silicon and iron. Again. Nickel. No, well now. Next rock. If I find one with ice, that'll be hunky-dory. Huh. I wonder, are all the planets in orbit around this brown dwarf? Now, I'm really wondering, is there any ice in any of these rocks. Woo! Lead and gold! Finally! I found some lead and gold! And discovered the ores that I was missing were right there, including magnesium. Finally, I found you. Well, let's power up the lower engine. Just the lower one. And see if we can get back home safely. I learned my lesson. I ain't getting near you. I'm not risking it. Not until I got a combat-worthy ship. And not until the proper updates have been met. AKA a camera, with which I can zoom in to snipe you. You know, quality of life. Coming in for landing. Ready to dock? Docked. Heck yeah. I then landed back at my home base, and I collected my thoughts. So, what are the few things I like to talk about Space Engineers 2? Well, my first point of discussion is, unfortunately, the backpack crafting. Now, I will say to you, I do know where the inspiration comes from for backpack crafting. It comes from other games such as Imperion Galactic Survival. However, I think it's much better implemented there than in SE2. In SE2, ores in our backpack and components pop out. In Imperion Galactic Survival, you actually need to make a tiny portable constructor and fill it with resources. Said resources are still refined into ingots before they're refined into components. Now, call me on the spectrum if you want if I'm complaining about this. However, it still seems logical to me to first refine the ore into metal before we refine it into product. It just feels like we're missing an entire step we need for the experience. The only other game I know of that skips these refined ore stages is a game called Kenji. There I will excuse it, even though entire wind turbines are being built with just plates and copper ore. Speaking about ores, the distribution, how the ores are laid out on the map are a bit questionable. Apparently you maybe can find gold on the Earth-like, however I found none during the playtime. What I found on Earth-like was primarily iron, nickel, silica, cobalt, and copper. Well, I found gold, lead, and magnesium in the asteroid belt around the Earth-like planet. And gold and lead are necessary materials for some of the bigger blocks. And some of the other ores are actually only found in the other sectors around the brown dwarf. Apparently in the next sector over, we can find stuff like platinum, silver, uranium, and a number of other ores, including carbon. And now let me segue awkwardly back to the backpack crafting. It feels a little cheaty, if I phrase that correctly. Now, just like in SE1, if you have the components in your inventory and you build the block, you can still build it. The other system allows you to build the components in your backpack and then the blocks. But I don't get the feeling there is a penalty. Whatever extra energy it costs, or how much more time it takes, it is so negligible, I don't notice it. Plus, this survival mode, the classic survival mode, was hidden. They want us to play an economy-based survival mode so badly. Not only is SE1 recently updated with better economy mechanics, but SE2 has a greater push into using an economy mode, to the point where progression is locked in that. It feels like they're forcing us to, play the economy in SE2, considering we barely touched it in SE1. I'm not going to be too harsh about this, but game developers that force the players to play a certain way is not really a good thing to do. Especially considering that Space Engineers is renowned for being a spaceship crafting game. We just want to engineer. Anyhow, what can I suggest to correct these issues? Well, first of all, make the thrusters more powerful. In SE1, I just got away with installing 6 of these things, and this thing could still fly with a full connector, cargo container, cockpit, and mining drill full of ore. This one flied comfortably once I added 4 more thrusters and excluded the mining drill. But there is progress. In an earlier build of the game, apparently you needed downwards thrusters to go down in atmosphere with gravity. Glad they fixed that. The other suggestion when it comes to backpack crafting: make it more annoying. Have the backpack refine an ore first, then the component. Or better yet, bring back stone refining. Have us deal with that. Have the stone be refined into ingots, then into product, and have our inventory clutter up with gravel. Give us the motivation to upgrade to bigger and better things. And whilst I am suggesting things to fix in Space Engineers 2, when can we have customizable spacesuits again? I apologize, but here is where I'm gonna nag the loudest. I want my golden helmet, gloves, and boots. If you think I'm being harsh, I'm sorry, but this is my brand. If I can't have the engineer look like my character, it ain't gonna be played regularly. Especially not for content. And this is pretty much what I had to think about SE2. It's not there yet. It's good enough to play for now. But it needs more work. Some more balance, some reintroduction of older mechanics that we all recognize. And yes, I'm holding this opinion. Especially rock refining. And trust me, I will recognize the old mechanics when they're back. I have almost 3,000 hours in SE1. Do you see me in the multiplayer servers? No. But I literally played enough to know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm gonna have a long think about what kind of video I'm gonna make next. It's either talk about a different game where you could build spaceships by a little name of Starship Evo, or I'm going to consider making my first playthrough series of Space Engineers. If you guys want to help me with that decision, leave it please in the comments below. And until then, I see you all next time. Oh boy. No. No. No, those dampeners aren't working for me. Damn it.